Today we are going to be taking a look at the future of Victoria 3 via the dev diary 144, which details the expansion pass and the upcoming DLC Charters of Commerce. We're going to be looking at it, taking a look at that video too, but the expansion pass will include the trade ships, which is out now, including new sprites for boats, National Awakening, which will be a future immersion pack, Songs of the Homeland, thank God we have some more music, and Iberian Twilight, which will be coming out towards the end of the year. And so, Actually, you know what? I need to apologize. I did not start this video out right. Happy Monday, everyone. So let's get into it and start taking a look. We're also going to take a little bit of a look at what it looks like on the Steam page, because there are some other, pics and stuff that are in here that are not on the dev diary page. But let's get into this here. The time has come. Indeed it is. It is the Happy Monday. Also, no notes here. No notes. Absolutely stunning job by Pele, devoting an entire paragraph to the wishing of a happy Monday. I suppose the only note that could be made is not having happy as the first word in the sentence. That way you show that you know good and proper that happy Monday is indeed a holiday and deserves to be capitalized even if it's not at the beginning of a sentence. But that said, the time has come. Last week we announced the expansion pass 2. Well, we showed you a logo and a blurry square. To be honest, we love blurry squares. Thank you for the huge amount of responses, discussion, hype, and speculation as to what's in the past. The pass, not the past, but also the past, because this is a Victorian era, which is in the past. Hopefully not the future. That's a little dystopian. Speaking of speculation, we saw a lot of it for different countries based on the logos in the expansion pass. For example, Albania, Spain, Russia, Austria, and everywhere across the globe. Some people thought that the barrel was for brewing, the flag was for flag customization, and many, many more interesting ideas. Thank you for them all. We had a lot of fun following your discussions, but today, we will give you a quick tour of the expansion pass. First, all proper visit to the first upcoming release, and the barrel in the expansion pass 2 logo. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to announce Charters of Commerce. Now, Charters of Commerce, we will be releasing relatively soon, but we have, kind of the YouTube video here, and we will come in and take a look.
Tools, tobacco, tanks, or tea.
Our favorite.
Everyone needs something. If trade will be the engine that powers the years to come, then goods will be the fuel. But wherever there's a promise of wealth and power, opposition will gather as sharks smell blood and water. And in a game of treaties and blockades, oceans will turn into battlefields.
Really, that flavor, oceans will turn into battlefield, is particularly exciting.
You can come out on top if you can control the very best product. Then you will control anyone who needs it.
Economic dominance, baby.
In this century, everyone needs something.
Yeah, like the DLC faster, obviously. But, okay. So, that is currently available as part of the expansion pass that is here. So, now that we've taken a look at the video, let's read what's inside. Welcome to Charters of Commerce, a mechanics pack focused on building trade, companies, and negotiating treaties with other nations. We got a sneak kind of hint at this negotiating of treaties via the dev diary that we covered yesterday, but was from last Thursday. Happy Thursday to those of you who couldn't make it out there. Control world trade through market domination, expand companies to new horizons, and strong-arm countries into unequal treaties. Use the power of commerce to bend other nations to your will, peacefully or by force. Create... If you're bending them, though, isn't that always kind of force? Okay, fair enough. Create monopolies to secure critical industries, keeping foreign investors in check. Ultimately, prove your mettle and produce unique prestige goods to make your brands known worldwide. And this is kind of an exciting mechanic to kind of hear about a little bit, but I don't think we're going to get too much detail in this dev diary here. But it is going to be, you are going to get premium goods if you have companies, and that hopefully these allow you to kind of set apart. And so we're going to see a little bit more with companies. What is included in charters of commerce here? Company charters grant special charters to companies, giving them a range of privileges. Trade charters lets the companies trade goods in the world market. This, of course, is the link to last week's DLC. Investment charters allow the establishment of regional headquarters that exploit the target's coffers. That is an interesting one. So we're establishing these perhaps overseas, in subjects or otherwise someone with whom we have investment rights, to sink our teeth in more, let's say. We have colony charters, makes it possible for a company to run a colonial region on their own, turning them into a country in the process. Currently, there's like no reason to use colonial, colonial countries. There's not much reason to release them, but if the colonial charter is sufficiently strong, maybe there will be a reason to release them, and this is very exciting. If the company that is a part of your nation can own the entire country. Everyone knows that the EIC was the biggest company ever. That was a company, not a sovereign nation in its own right. Here we have the industry charters grant companies the ability to expand into producing other goods, and this is, of course, these prestige goods that were mentioned earlier. And so we have different types of charters, and it'll be interesting to see how we, as a resource, get to decide which charters we want, which charters to go for, this type of thing, the trade-offs that we are able to make, and if things will be worth it. And so this is a bit of excitement here. We have monopolies. Boost the efficiency of selected buildings and grant your companies an exclusive right to a certain industry, ensuring their dominance. This is... companies give a huge amount of throughput. Being able to give them the entire market share is definitely something that's valuable. I hope, though, that monopolies are inherently inefficient, so I don't know if... I hope that there are some sort of trade-offs and that these are a reasonable sort of thing. What I would really love to see is, some of... both monopolistic power in terms of rising, and then monopolistic power leading to a sort of stagnation, and trust busting, allowing you to kind of bridge that gap. I'm not expecting to see mechanics of that kind in here, but the ability to control how buildings are distributed between companies and the non-company private sector is definitely something that we're interested in, to ensure that the companies have, exclusive rights to certain industries, and so excited to be seeing that. We have diplomatic treaties, negotiate fair or unequal agreements with other countries. It's called the art of the deal, baby. Expand upon treaties added in Update 1.9, including non-colonization agreements. Non-colonization agreements, that does sound a little bit exciting. That way there's a little bit less of border gore in colonization. We have prestige goods. Successful companies can produce higher quality goods, such as champagne, or as those of you who like to pronounce it correctly, and by correctly I mean incorrectly, champagne, as an advanced variant of wine. Alongside colonial charters, or alongside charters of commerce, rather, we will be releasing a free update 1.9 that will focus on some of the areas we've mentioned back in January with Dev Diary 142, with a full update including a world market with autonomous we do like autonomous trains, though. Autonomous trade, as shown in last week's Dev Diary 143. Diplomatic treaties, negotiate with other nations to truly make the best deal for you, with additions such as transit rights. Very excited to see how this one shakes out. We haven't gotten a Dev Diary on this. Frontline and military quality of life improvements, improving front splitting, teleportation, and more. These have consistently been, a little bit of a thorn in the side of the Victoria 3 player for some time now. I'm optimistic that there is improvements, but I am a little bit... I imagine that improvements is what we're going to see, not completely getting rid of the front spaghetti that we've come to know and love. Straits and blockades. This is apparently not going to actually be, or blockades is going to be in there, but control of straits and establishing control of straits is apparently not going to make it into 1.9, per the discussion that the devs were having both on Discord and apparently in response to this thread. Now, you may be asking, what is a mechanic pack? I am now. What is a mechanic pack? It is a pack aimed to provide a mechanical immersion at a lower price than an expansion due to a lower focus on the narrative content. This allows us to provide a deeper mechanical immersion, while the extra flavor will be included in an additional immersion pack with the same expansion pass too. The immersion pack coming in later and being focused on Austria. And it's kind of neat that they separate these two. If you're interested in both, obviously you get the expansion pack, and the expansion pack will, help them to fund development of Victoria 3. And so if you are hyped and you do think you'll expend it and you have relative liquidity, investing earlier does help out the company more. But of course, also waiting for the thing to come out and seeing how it gets reviewed and this type of thing is definitely something as a consumer that is a fair way to go about it. This is an experiment on our end, as we want to make it possible for you to receive both new mechanics as well as narrative content when purchasing an expansion pass, as you would with an expansion pack, while also giving you an option to choose only one when buying the content separately, mechanics pack plus immersion pack. So if you want the mechanics, you can buy it without buying the narrative content, and vice versa. The choice is all yours. Or do you have the illusion of choice? You're going to buy them both. Just kidding, you're going to buy the boats, though. Charters of Commerce and Update 1.9 will be releasing June 17th for $20 and be available to be wishlisted now. I do believe wishlisting, if you're planning on buying it, does help them out in terms of their internal metrics for deciding how things are going with Victoria 3. We will delve, shout out to the word delve, AI loves using that word, although I'm not suggesting this was written by AI, into upcoming features in the future dev diaries and videos, so stay tuned. So here we have expansion packs number 2, and so we bid you greetings to the second expansion pass for Victoria 3. Don't you mean happy expansion pass? Adding more to the game through a range of new content for trade, diplomacy, nations, and much more, or as we like to say, mostly etc. Expansion Pass 2 includes trade ships and bonus pack instant unlock. This is available right now. Charters of Commerce mechanics pack, which will be available June 17th. National Awakening immersion pack. I think this is in Q3. Songs of the Homeland music pack. Man, oh man, am I excited to hear some more music. And then Iberian Twilight Immersion Pack, I believe this is planned for Q4. You can see the information on each pack later in the dev diary. By getting the expansion pass, you will save 20% compared to the price of content being sold separately, and you will also receive the Trade Ships bonus pack, which will be unlocked immediately upon purchase of expansion pass 2. The whole package is available now for $35.97 USD. More information can be found on the Steam's page for Expansion Pack 2, and we will have dev diaries leading up to each pack. Here we have the trade ships. Big nice. Look at that Ching junk. What a nice junk. For those of you who would like to delve into the expansion pass, there we have it again. Right away, we prepared an instant unlock trade ships bonus pack. This art pack will become instantly available for all who purchase the expansion pack, provided 3 new trade ships appearances to ply the trade lanes of the world map. As we want to make these ships feel truly unique, the sales color update, which allows you to which country you are playing based on their flag, and appear based on cultural heritage or culture. For example, Marmara would appear to be trade ships for Turkish, Greek, or Misri culture. You could also have them appear in other ways, e.g. if you're a subject of someone who has them, if your power block leader has them, or if you're importing clippers from a nation with them. That is a cool little dynamic thing. You're importing clippers, you start to use their boats. That's going to be very exciting. I actually like the aesthetic of the Ching junk, so maybe we'll import a bunch of clippers from them. We have the Marmara in the Ottoman Empire's colors with a rather dashing red and white, I agree. A dhow clad in midnight sails, that looks pretty nice as well. And then we are moving up onto National Awakening. I'm assuming that, or before we do, I'm assuming that we will get more photos of ships. If you look at the ship pass, yeah, you can see we have a lot more ships. We can see the color updated version of the junk here in terms of on the Steam page here. So, let's let's kind of take a look. Our next immersion pack, releasing in Q3 2025, is National Awakening, focused on the century of struggles or national struggles in Central Europe and the Balkans. Will Austria survive its internal politics and national struggles? Everyone has been kind of agitating for Austria to have a more complex and nuanced issue in regards to its internal politics, and so this will be coming with this. And how will they all fare with the swell of national identities? Here we have Austrian internal content. Will the Clemens, I almost said Kumai, will the Clemens von Metternich keep the crumbling empire together, or will the nationalist forces break it apart? Is there a future for all the different ethnicities under Habsburg's absolute rule, that absolute chin, or maybe it's time for a more federationist state. My God, reading's hard. We have Hungarian flavor, determine the place of the proud Hungarian nation, with or without the empire. This is an interesting little bit of thing, which implies that maybe Hungary will start out as a subject of Austria moving forward. I'm not sure exactly how that will be, or if you can release Hungary and have them be playable. Powder Keg of Europe is perhaps the most exciting bullet point here. Engaged with the intricate narrative content surrounding the emergent Balkan states, struggling for independence and for the power, much like the power that is in that loud car outside. But this is, of course, exciting because the Powder Keg of Europe is an allusion to World War I. If there is a World War I mechanic in the National Awakening patch, that would be very exciting indeed, to give you some sort of narrative thing to progress towards as time goes on in Victoria 3 and you approach the later game, and a reason to play into the late game. New southern states form Yugoslavia or Illyria, carving out their borders and national outline as you please, and historic characters larger than life, people who helped shape the outline of Austria and the Balkans. We're going to get not only Sigmund Freud, but Sigmund Freud 2.0. Just kidding. That's probably not a thing. New 2D art, including new map skin and UI art, as well as event images. So this will be the National Awakening Immersion Pack. I do think that the bullet points are a little bit different here than they are on the DLC, but I'm not 100% sure. We see that the Great Eastern Crisis, for example, is not included in the dev diary. And so this will be a little bit different. We'll read through these bullet points as well. Songs of the Homeland in Q4 2025. So this is a little bit later. We can't wait. Immerse yourself in a music pack dedicated to the rise of national identities, modernism, and a truly grand tomorrow. Now, this idea of, modernism was absolutely crushed by the world wars. Everyone was believing in progress and, this type of stuff, and then the world wars happened, and then they were like, not like this. And so the national identities, nationalism contributing to World War I as well, this certainly fits with the idea that perhaps they are making a World War I mechanic. I don't really know, though. Selected key features: embrace the power of the nation, immerse yourself in sounds of national pride and fervor. Modern treads experience the innovation of emerging modernist music. Ambition wins all. Lose yourself in global soundscape of a truly global empire. And then we see Iberian Twilight. A shout out to Spain without the S. We're in pain because we're in the twilight of our empire. And so we come to our last part of the expansion pass 2, also releasing in Q4 2025. Iberian Twilight lets you ponder at the once mighty powers of the Iberian Peninsula, and ponder is all you can really do because you're so weak, grappling with the clashing ideals of reform or reaction. Can you restore these sleeping giants to their old glory, or will they fade away into the darkening night? Womp womp. Selected key features include, for Spain, the Carlist Wars, side with the liberals or counter their aspirations through a dedicated narrative content, return to a global empire, rebuild your once powerful world-spanning empire, and face both new and old adversaries as you progress to the path to greatness. This one is exciting. I really do think already this is kind of a fun run theme. To play as Spain, I think Spain's really good for beginners. I think that the idea of going after South America and trying to reincorporate that is a nice, fun little goal, and so I do think that this will be kind of a cornerstone of a fun type of run. and the future calls modernize your country and institutions, freeing the nation of the shackles of the past. Shackles, yeah, I'm pretty sure Spain starts with slavery. The truth hurts. Portugal, discover who you are, recover from the War of the Two Brothers, and define your vision of the future of your nation. The ultimate trade powerhouse, reaffirm your position as the world-leading trade power spanning a commercial empire. And this bullet point is very intriguing to me. If we see unique bonuses for trade relative to Portugal, and we get to see any type of unique bonuses relative to trade, this is exciting, especially with how we know that trade is going to get massively buffed. We see American ambitions. Of course, everyone remembers the Treaty of Tortillas. Shout out to Quesadillas. Navigate the diplomatic relations with Brazil, defining your position and as a former suzerain of the region. And of course, Portugal gets control of Africa, while Spain gets control of the rest of the New World, other than Brazil. We see One Iberia, unite the peninsula under your rule, and new art, including buildings, unit models, and more, etc. Mostly, etc. What's next? With that, we finish our overview of the Charters of Commerce and the new expansion pass. We are, of course, going to go over some of the bullet points that are in the Steam shop page for this, but the infographic below shows you each part that of the pass will land, with more information about each piece of the upcoming content receiving their own dedicated dev diaries. So we are going to be getting more of these as time goes on, but the upcoming one, the really kind of on the horizon one for us, will be in June. And it will be the Charters of Commerce mechanics pack, with the new kind of idea of a mechanics pack and a flavor pack or immersion pack, I think is what they used. Before we send you off, we of course want to wish you a happy Monday, because everyone knows that happy salutations belong in sandwich format. We announced the new bundles coming to Victoria 3, Starter Edition and Ultimate Bundle, for the new and seasoned players of Victoria 3. These will replace the previous Grand Edition and old expansion pass bundles and provide a way to start or complete your edition. We joined Martin with the trade rework dev diary last week. Next time we see you in a dev diary, it will be mid-April. Womp womp, terrible news. Mid-April with Lino, a shout out to Lino, and information on frontline improvements coming in 1.9. So this is an expired. Okay, wait. Okay. So this is exciting that we get this. I almost thought that they wished us a happy Monday, because I saw the happy and then day of the week, and immediately my brain started foaming at the mouth. But this is not only, it's going to be a happy Thursday when we see you next, which okay, but this isn't capitalized. Come on, everyone knows that Happy Thursday is in fact capitalized because it is a holiday. So that is the dev diary. Now we're going to take a quick look at the expansion pass, which is going to have, kind of a little bit of the duplicate information, but maybe we can glean a little bit more here. For the upcoming Charters of Commerce, build a financial trade system, enrich your nation and overwhelm your rivals with Charters of Commerce. A new mechanics pack for Victoria 3. Charters of Commerce adds depth and new options to Victoria 3's sophisticated trade model, including new ways to regulate company expansion, new diplomatic tools, and new unique good variants that your nation will be known for. Features of Victoria 3 Charters of Commerce include: Charter Company grants charters to your nation's companies to give them an advantage in the cutthroat game of international trade. Still really keen on seeing how this works as a resource in terms of your selection as to what type of charter you want. But Trade Charter lets them trade goods on the world market and ostensibly expand out trade centers yourself. Trade centers will have relatively low construction costs, so I don't know how good this will be. Investment charters allow companies to establish regional headquarters and invest in foreign markets. This is a very interesting one, especially if you are looking to establish, with trade being powerful, there's something that needs to be emphasized. There are gameplay patterns that are not present in current Victoria 3, which is you can absolutely ruin someone by pulling the rug out from underneath them. And what I mean by this is, if you for 50 years export and are the sole supplier of paper for a given nation, and then you pull the paper out from underneath them, all their government administrations, if they've racked up a ton of institutions, will start running a shortage of paper, and then they won't be able to support their institutions. They will death spiral, and then they will go bankrupt because they will be running negative administration as a result of the throughput malice on anything that relies on the consumption of paper. This type of economic, brutality is not really possible in Victoria 3 right now. It was possible in 1.4 when trade was good, and also before Mappy. Something like an investment charter might allow these gameplay patterns to kind of reemerge, and you to do this type of thing in order to really create really strong dependencies on your country. Colonial charters make it possible for companies to govern colonial regions. Currently, colonial companies or governments or this type of stuff are just like really bad. Would love to see incentive here in terms of colonial charters be substantive enough that you actually want to release them. This will be exciting. Industry charters give companies permission to expand their field of business into other types of production, which implies premium PMs to produce the champagne instead of the wine. Monopolies encourage monopolistic industries in your country, whether it be highly efficient but costly state monopoly. This is a little bit of new information. A state monopoly, curious, or private company monopoly that crowds out competitors in the production of vital goods. I'm really excited to see how mechanically they simulate a monopoly, because monopolies would make way more money but provide less of the good. And so in theory, they should be more profitable, but the good be more expensive in your market as a consequence of how they work if they're correctly simulating monopolistic power. Very excited to see how that is going to work in future dev diaries. And then we have diplomatic treaties, sign new types of diplomatic agreements, including imposing uneven trade deals and setting limits on colonization. This is exciting as well. An expansion of diplomacy as it relates to, non-war diplomacy. And then I think in National Awakening, we might get some war diplomacy expansion here as well. Continuing on for this, prestige goods let successful companies branch out in production of high-quality goods like champagne, establishing your unique cultural imprint on a good and gaining an advantage on your competitors. Shout out to the loud guy outside. So we will have a Victoria 3 National Awakening here, which is going to be focused on Austria and the Balkans. Of Victoria 3 National Awakening, a century of national struggles in Central Europe and the Balkans takes center stage in National Awakening, an immersion pack for Victoria 3. Key, it's an immersion pack instead of a mechanics pack. For those of you who love the immersion, this is going to be good. For those of you who love the mechanics, the other one's going to be good. And for those of you who love both is going to be good. The Ottoman Empire is losing its grip on European territories, while its Austrian rival is riven by internal political struggles, some ideological and some nationalist. Explore the tumult of the tinderbox of Europe in this immersion pack. I was so ready for a third alliterative T, and then it wasn't delivered, and I was here we go. Continuing on here, Victoria 3 National Awakening has content related to Austria, guided by the bureaucratic and diplomatic genius of the Metternich. Austria starts in a strong political position, but social and technological revolutions threaten to undermine the absolute Habsburgian chin, transform the empire into a cosmopolitan state under bureaucratic leadership, or try to harness the national aspirations of many people towards reform. Okay, here we have Hungary. Once freed from Austrian rule, Hungary has a chance to be a crucial weight in the balance of power in Eastern Europe. I am curious if we are going to have a mechanic that lets you play as Hungary relatively early on, like a decision that we have when starting as Austria or something like this. I'm guessing this is going to be the case. Technically, you can release play as Hungary now, but I think that they will facilitate this pattern in some sort of way. Serbia takes sides in the rivalry between the Serbian houses of these two dynasties that we can't pronounce. Shout out to Serbia. Bulgaria established the freedom from the Ottoman rule and established a reputation of Prussians in the Balkans. Montenegro lead this tiny theocratic state to secular monarchy and potential expansion. How dare you not include this in the dev diary? Dude, bro, making content for Monty, which is like probably extremely, well, it's not that hard to play because all you have to do is you have to get someone to help you out, and then you get to the coast and you kind of play normal. But it'll be exciting to see what kind of they have in terms of unique content for cooking them up. We see Yugoslavia and Illyria, not sure how it's pronounced, form the new southern Slavic state based on the historical Serbian-led model of an alternative Croatian-Slovene nation. And then we have national awakenings, new narrative events tied to the national fervor to better model the historical rise of nationalism in the Balkans. The Great Eastern Crisis. We don't see one that implies world war as much as Powder Keg. National awakenings would be the closest, but the rise of nationalism in general as a mechanic. But maybe we'll have a nationalism mechanic for the Balkans, and that'll translate to a Great War thing. We're really seeing a little bit less of it here. The Great Eastern Crisis, the rise of nationalism in Southern Europe, deals an almost fatal blow to the Ottoman power in Europe as formerly subjected peoples rise up in rebellion. Shout out to Tunis. I think that this implies quite clearly that we're going to have Carthage as well, because Tunis rises up, forms Neo-Carthage. This isn't cope on my behalf, definitely not anything like that. It's not like the timeline was ruined 2,500 years ago, yeah, okay. And then the Balkan Wars. New content to encourage a united Balkan front against the exhausted Ottomans in Europe. Historical characters and art as we had seen before. And now we're going to get a little bit more details on Songs of the Homeland, because they didn't really cover that too much in depth in the dev diary here. If I recall correctly, it was just kind of like, hey, we're gonna have some songs. Step into the transformative world of the Victorian age, designed to immerse you in an era of both a bold national identity, the rise of modernism, etc. Truly international era. This music pack promises to evoke national pride, stir your emotions with powerful anthems, and fervor emerging national identity. Why couldn't they just, honestly, what they should have a 20-second clip of a song for this instead. Celebrate modern inventions. Experience the living pulse of modernism through the dynamic and forward-thinking compositions that mirror the transformative spirit of the Victorian era. Definitely there was a sense of excitement and enthusiasm for the future, at least if you were in the West and not a colonized nation, which was brutal, this optimism. And the optimism was crushed by 2 world wars in consecutive, in back-to-back, and it is this kind of spirit that I hope that they capture global ambitions, feel the energy of the burgeoning truly international world with tracks that reflect excitement and ambition on the world on the brink of globalization becoming possible with improved trade. Really, a lot of these things do seem to slot into each other's quite well, with charters of commerce facilitating this type of kind of modern trade orientation for globalization. Definitely a mechanic you want to have in there. And next up, we have quite a large list of what's going on in Iberian content, or Iberian Twilight. Reverse the fortunes of the Spanish and Portuguese empires in Iberian Twilight, an immersion pack for Victoria 3. So we're going to have 2 immersion packs, 1 mechanics pack. Advance the banners of either reform or reaction as you endeavor to restore these once mighty powers to their rightful place in the world stage. Reform outmoded political and economic systems and foster agricultural and industrial revolution on the peninsula. There's new content related to Spain, once the grandest empire on earth, now reeling from the loss of its American colonies. We will see the kind of some of the things that have already been covered in the dev diary. The Carlist Wars reduce political instability and factionalism and contend with forces seeking to challenge your rule. This implies a little bit of mechanics, but it's probably in the form of dev diaries. Reaffirm your position as an imperial power in both the old world and the new. Modernize national institutions and encourage an industrial boom in Catalonia, the Basque Country, and beyond. They do have one of the very best companies in the game in Spain. And Portugal, once the powerful state that maintains its diminished empire in Africa and Asia, deal with the fallout of the War of the Two Brothers, expand your influence and territorial holdings in Africa, Asia, and reestablish establishing Portugal as the premier trading and colonial power. So this one is a little bit different than the Dev Diary, which focused on Brazil and did not mention the other colonies, but we do see Brazil here, perhaps even political ties. Perhaps there is a way to reintegrate them into the fold, the bosom of Portugal, and then we see Iberianism, reuniting them both under one banner, and also updates and improvements for nations in the orbit of the Iberian powers, so maybe a little bit for Morocco, something like this. New historical characters for the nations covered, and art, of course, will also be included. I think that the roadmap is just going to be a nice little graphic for what is going to be coming in, and then that is what we are going to be seeing here. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is, of course, all very exciting that we're getting news for what's going to be upcoming in kind of a detailed fashion. I'm going to expect to maybe see some peripheral mechanics updates, with both of the immersion packs that are going to be related to them, but they are not really. It seems that they are wanting to not promise mechanics in the immersion packs, but there are always free patches alongside these immersion packs, and so what you have to expect is mechanics that are going to probably synergize with these two things, and that'll be something that we see more of as we get closer to both the immersion packs. But for now, we have trade and charters of commerce kind of upcoming in the immediate future here for Victoria 3. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube algorithm thing. And other than that, have a happy Monday.